Most older adults assume the solution to clutter is more bins, better shelves, or fancy new organizers from a home goods catalog. But here's the uncomfortable truth. After 60, the real cause of disorganization isn't a lack of space. It's what we're still holding on to without realizing it. Have you ever looked around your home and thought, why does it feel like I live in a museum of my past? Even though you're not shopping much anymore, your home keeps filling quietly, invisibly, until the drawers stick, the closets groan, and every surface carries a silent weight. And here's the kicker. Most organizing tips out there are made for busy families or minimalists in their 30s. They don't speak to the emotional layers, the memories, or the practical needs that come with aging. That's why in this video, we're going beyond labels and bins. We're uncovering 3 rarely discussed steps that professional organizers often skip, but they're exactly what seniors over 60 in the US need to hear right now. So before you open another cabinet or reach for a storage tote, pause. Like this video, hit subscribe and stay with us. These 3 subtle changes can reshape not just how your home looks, but how it feels to live in it. Lorene was the kind of woman who always showed up, on time, neatly dressed, and with a smile that made even the grumpiest customer at the post office soften. After 35 years of dedicated service in Tucson, Arizona, she finally hung up her uniform and stepped into retirement with high hopes. She imagined quiet mornings on her patio, organizing family photos, and baking with her grandkids on the weekends. But retirement didn't feel as free as she expected. Not because she missed work. She didn't. It was her house. Every time she opened a drawer, something would catch or fall. Cabinets were crammed with containers she hadn't touched in years. Closets overflowed with coats, crafts, and clutter. It wasn't dirty, just packed. Quietly, steadily packed. She wasn't a hoarder. She didn't live in chaos. But Lorene started to feel like her home was no longer supporting her. It was weighing her down. There was a constant hum of unease. She couldn't find a flashlight when she needed it. She bumped into the same side table every morning, and every attempt to organize into the same way, with things shuffled, moved, maybe boxed, but never truly gone. She tried everything she was supposed to. Donation bins, labels, a day-by-day decluttering checklist. She even hired a local organizer for a single session. The advice always sounded good in theory, but by the following week, the same items were back in the same places. Nothing changed how the space felt. One evening, sitting at her kitchen table with a lukewarm cup of tea, Lorene realized something important. Maybe it wasn't the stuff that needed sorting. Maybe it was how she thought about it. That's when things began to shift. Through a mix of trial, reflection, and a few ideas she stumbled across for people her age, not influencers or professional minimalists, Lorene discovered 3 small, powerful shifts that finally made her home feel like hers again. They weren't flashy. They didn't require buying more containers. But they worked, and they addressed the quiet challenges no one warned seniors about. The sentimental clutter, the shifting routines, the guilt of letting go, and the fear that clearing out might feel like erasing the past. These 3 steps didn't just clear Lorene's cabinets. They lifted a weight she didn't know she'd been carrying, and they might just do the same for you. Step 1. Empty without touching, the touchless declutter. Lorene didn't start with a weekend overhaul or a massive purge. She started with a single drawer, the one in her hallway that had quietly become a catch-all for everything from expired coupons to spare keys that opened nothing. But unlike her past organizing attempts, this time she tried something entirely different. She didn't touch anything. Instead, she placed a clean towel on her dining table, slid the drawer out, and carefully dumped the entire contents onto the towel, without sorting, stacking, or making any decisions. Then she did something even more unusual. She stepped back and simply looked. This small but deliberate pause made a world of difference. There's a powerful psychological shift that happens when items are removed from their familiar place. When things sit in their homes, our brains associate them with comfort, memories, and meaning. But when you place them out of context, laid bare on a neutral surface, they lose that emotional disguise. You stop seeing what they meant years ago and start seeing them for what they really are today. This method, which Laureen later called her touchless declutter, changed her relationship with stuff. She didn't have to hold an old watch and debate whether it might get fixed someday. She didn't have to justify keeping 3 sets of headphones when she only used one. By stepping back and observing first, she gave herself emotional distance, and that created clarity. Among the scattered contents, she noticed a few bent paper clips, a dried-out glue stick, a souvenir magnet from a trip she barely remembered, and a birthday card from her late husband. The card made her pause. It was simple, handwritten, and folded in half with the edges curled slightly. She picked it up gently, read it once, smiled, and placed it in her keep pile. Everything else, she released it. And here's what makes this so powerful for seniors. This method quiets the emotional noise. It removes the "maybe I'll use it later" or "what if someone else needs it" chatter that so often paralyzes progress. For older adults carrying decades of belongings, this step takes the pressure off. No immediate decisions, no guilt, just observation. Laureen didn't need someone telling her what was clutter. She just needed a moment to see it with new eyes. Have you ever found that things look different when you take them out of their usual spot? Have you had that aha moment just by laying something out on a table and realizing it no longer serves you? If so, tell us in the comments. Your story might encourage someone else. Laureen's journey didn't end here. Once she learned how to see her belongings clearly, the next question became, how could she make her space actually serve the life she was living now? The answer to that came in the form of a surprising new habit, one that turned her cluttered cabinets into purposeful, peaceful zones. Step 2. Give every space a job, not just a label. Laureen's home had all the same labels you'd expect: linen closet, pantry, junk drawer, hall closet. They were the names she had used for decades. But over time, those names stopped matching the life she was actually living. Her linen closet still held extra sheets for a guest bed no one slept in anymore. The kitchen corner near the window had become a strange pile-up of reusable bags, recipes she never made, and batteries she couldn't remember testing. And the junk drawer? It lived up to its name. No order, no purpose, just random bits that somehow felt too useful to toss, but too confusing to use. That's when Laureen remembered something from her working years. Back at the post office, every worker had a defined role: sorting, customer service, deliveries, dispatch. When each person had a job, the whole operation ran smoothly. But if someone didn't know their role, or if roles overlapped too much, everything got delayed and cluttered. So Laureen tried something she'd never seen in a home organizing book. She gave every space in her house a job, not just a label. The hallway closet became her wellness station. No longer stuffed with mismatched towels, it now held everything related to her health. Her blood pressure monitor, vitamins, backup glasses, over-the-counter ointments, and a printed checklist taped inside the door to track her medications. The old kitchen drawer that once held expired coupons and twist ties, that became her morning table. It now had her mail key, a grocery list pad, a working pen, her checkbook, and a mini flashlight. Everything she usually needed before stepping outside. Even her entryway, which used to just hold coats, became a calm corner. A chair for removing shoes without wobbling. A small hook for her cane. A small basket with hand sanitizer and peppermints. This shift wasn't about tidying. It was about tailoring. Laureen wasn't organizing for a family of 5 anymore. She was organizing for herself and the way she lived now. That's what makes this method so powerful for older adults. After 60, routines shift. Health needs change. Energy levels fluctuate. And we don't move through our homes the way we used to. So why should our spaces stay the same? Giving each area a job means that when you walk into that part of your home, it's ready to support you. No guessing, no digging, no stress. It's a simple shift, but deeply empowering. So take a moment. Look around your home. What space is just holding stuff that could instead be doing something for you? Leave a comment and tell us. What room or drawer or shelf in your home is ready for a new job? Your idea might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Now, while this step made Laureen's home more functional, It was her final change that truly brought peace, the kind that can't be bought in a store or solved with a label maker. It came from creating one very unexpected type of space. Step 3. Create a no-rush zone. Lorene never planned to create a no-rush zone. It happened almost by accident. On a quiet Tuesday afternoon, when she was sorting through a dusty storage box that had been tucked behind her couch for over a decade. Inside were pieces of her past she wasn't ready to part with, but also didn't know how or if they still fit into her present. A pair of baby shoes that belonged to her daughter. A wind-up clock from her mother's kitchen. A decorative porcelain plate gifted on her wedding day. None of it was junk. None of it was exactly useful either. And all of it carried emotion. But rather than force herself into a decision she might later regret, Lorene did something profoundly simple. She created a space where she didn't have to decide right away. She cleared off a small side table near her reading chair. She placed a soft glow lamp on it, pulled up a cozy seat, and added a shallow tray. Nothing fancy. Just a place to rest the in-between things. No timeline. No judgment. That tray became her no-rush zone. If an item felt too personal to toss but too impractical to keep, it went there for a few days, a week, sometimes longer. Not to be forgotten, just to breathe. This small act created emotional breathing room. It let her process memories gently, without the pressure to declutter everything in one sitting. Sometimes, after a few mornings of sipping coffee nearby, she'd glance over and feel ready to keep something. Other times, she'd touch an item and realize she didn't need to hold on to it anymore. Not because the item had changed, but because she had. This kind of space is rarely mentioned in organizing books or shows. Why? Because it doesn't look dramatic. It doesn't make for a fast before and after photo. But for seniors, especially those processing grief, change, or long decades of life, it's one of the kindest tools you can give yourself. After 60, decisions carry more meaning. They echo with memory. And rushing that process only leads to regret or emotional exhaustion. A no-rush zone honors your pace. It tells your mind and heart, you're allowed to wait. And it's not just for sentimental things. Lorene started placing health insurance letters there when they overwhelmed her. Cards she meant to respond to. A gift she wasn't sure where to store. The tray wasn't clutter, it was permission. You don't need a large area. Just a small, intentional spot where your mind can rest along with your items. A place to hold memory, not emotion. A space that supports you, not your to-do list. Have you ever felt stuck making a decision about something personal in your home? Would a no-rush zone help? Let us know in the comments. Your insight might be exactly what someone else needs today. For Lorene, this gentle practice didn't just help her declutter. It helped her heal. And in that healing, her home began to feel less like a storage unit and more like a sanctuary. 3 weeks after Lorene started her quiet home transformation, something unexpected happened. Her house didn't just look neater. It felt different, lighter, calmer, as if the air itself had more room to breathe. She hadn't torn down walls, bought sleek furniture, or called in a professional team. What changed was subtler, but far more powerful. She began waking up without that silent pressure that used to greet her every morning. The pressure of too much, too many drawers to sort, too many boxes to ignore, too many someday decisions sitting quietly in corners. Now, her space welcomed her with clarity. Her steps felt more certain. Her routines more peaceful. She stood one afternoon in her living room, hands on her hips, and said out loud to no one in particular, "I used to hold on to everything because I was afraid of forgetting. Now I keep what I choose to remember." It wasn't about minimalism. It wasn't about perfection. It was about intentionality, something often missing from the homes we age in. Lorene didn't chase a Pinterest-worthy aesthetic. She didn't strip her home of meaning. She simply reshaped it to reflect who she was now, not who she used to be or who others expected her to be. She made space not just on her shelves, but in her mind, in her heart, in her routines. That's the part professional organizers don't always talk about, especially when working with seniors. Many advice columns and decluttering guides focus on speed and results, on getting rid of things quickly to make a visual impact. But they overlook something crucial. Life after 60 comes with layers, with memories, changes, and rhythms that demand a gentler touch. Laureen's success came not from following rules, but from following her intuition. She gave herself permission to slow down, to rethink what each room was for, and to not make decisions before she was ready. She honored both her past and her present, without letting one drown out the other. And the ripple effect? Her granddaughter came over one weekend and said, "Grandma, your house feels so peaceful now." That's when Laureen smiled and realized this wasn't just about decluttering. This was about resetting her life. You don't need to spend thousands. You don't need to hire a crew or start from scratch. Sometimes, all it takes is a fresh way of looking at what's already there and giving yourself the grace to change with it. Because peace isn't found in the perfect arrangement. It's found in a home that finally reflects you. You don't need a new house. You don't need to box up your entire life. And you definitely don't need to follow anyone else's version of organized. What you do need is a moment of pause, a chance to ask yourself, does this space still serve the person I am today? Because starting fresh isn't about discarding your history. It's about designing your environment to honor where you've been and where you're going. After 60, your home should reflect peace, purpose, and presence, not pressure or piles. Maybe this is your moment. Maybe something in this video gave you permission to look around your space with softer eyes and stronger intention. Maybe you've been feeling like your home is slowly becoming a storage unit for the past. But now, you see there's another way, one that doesn't rush you, shame you, or push you to throw everything away. A way that respects your pace, your memories, and your right to create comfort without chaos. And maybe today's the day you take that first gentle step, whether it's clearing one drawer, giving a corner a new job, or setting up a little space where you can wait before deciding. If this video helped you see things differently, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear what you're changing, or even just thinking about changing. And if you think someone else in your life could use this kind of shift, don't keep it to yourself. Tap like, subscribe to Wise Aging Seniors, and share this video with a friend who's ready to trade clutter for clarity. Because you deserve a space that meets you where you are, not where you used to be. And the beauty of it all? You don't need to start over. You just need to start.